Hi, everybody. My name is Neil Thompson. I am the founder of Teach the Geek. It's an online platform for science and engineering professionals. To learn more about it, you can go to teachthegeek.com. Again, that's teachthegeek.com. Something that I also never mentioned in these videos, I wrote a children's book. And if you're interested in learning about that, you can go to askuncleneil.com. That book is about my nephew asking me why his hair is the way it is, and I use science to answer the question. I was really passionate about writing that book. The motivation is to get more Black kids interested in STEM since we're highly underrepresented in it currently. Eventually, I'd like to make it a series where my nephew's asking me a question and I'm using science to answer it. And the reception to this first book has been tremendous, but it could always be better. That's why I should always push it out there as much as I can. I came on today to actually do an interview with somebody, but they just didn't show up, and I don't know why, but I have everything set up, so I figured I'd still do a video anyway, just by myself, which is actually something that I've thought about doing more often anyway. If you've looked at any of the other videos on this channel, it's always been me doing an interview with somebody that works in STEM and talking to them about STEM and public speaking, since the two typically don't go together. Us people that work as scientists and engineers, oftentimes we run away from public speaking like it's, like a house on fire. But really, we have all this technical expertise, and if we're not sharing it with people, especially with non-technical audiences, a lot of that expertise doesn't really go anywhere. So it behooves us to become more effective at public speaking. So I guess today I'll talk a little bit about my aspirations for this channel. And if you've tuned into other videos, the videos kind of happen whenever they happen. There's no really kind of structure to them. At least from now on, I'm going to post on the channel a little more often. Even if I don't have an interview, I'll still come online and do videos like this. I actually have a number of videos on another social media platform, which I think I'll transfer over to this platform. I really like YouTube. I watch YouTube videos all the time, and so if I highly doubt that I'm a unicorn. So so if I'm watching YouTube videos, I'm guessing other people are watching YouTube videos too. Another thing I thought about was it was a recommendation from one of my former guests, Saul Rosenbaum. He said that I should turn the YouTube videos into a podcast, and I thought, that's probably a good idea too. And so in the very near future, probably the next few months, I'd say by the end of the first quarter of next year, but I'll have these videos, the interview videos, as podcast episodes as well, since I realize that sometimes people don't have the opportunity to look at videos, but they'll listen to a podcast while they're doing other things, driving, that kind of thing. So that's something I'll definitely get done. So you've heard it here first. I put it out there, so now I have to actually get it done. So there's that, and the other videos, I said, I'll put them up on the YouTube channel as well. And then when I was just jotting down some notes, since this interview didn't happen, so I kind of had to think on my feet as to what I was going to talk about. I got everything set up, got my background set up, and it was like, nah, I set this thing up. I'm going to talk about something. So I decided to talk about what I'm going to talk about is timing when it comes to public speaking. And you might not think about this all that much when it comes to it. You're just thinking, man, I just want to be able to get up there and not, shake, tremble, uncontrollably when I'm up there public speaking. But once you've got the trembling down pat, I guess the next thing you really should, one of the things you should think about is timing. And at least for someone like myself, it really annoys me when people go over time. So when I work as an engineer, so for those of you that don't know, I used to work as a product development engineer in the medical device industry. And as part of my job, I used to have to go to conferences, and people it would just be routine to go over their times, because you could actually look at the agenda and you see who's presenting at any given time, and you see they're supposed to present from this time to that time. And very rarely did that actually happen. Either things would start late, or that obviously doesn't have anything to do with the presenter. But then once the presenter starts presenting, they know they have 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever the time is, and they just go over. And it just, to me, it's just a sign of lack of preparation, and it's also a sign of disrespect to the audience. Especially when you're at a conference, you're trying to jam in as much as you can. You want to see as many speakers as you can. So if one speaker goes over time, perhaps if there's another speaker that you want to see in another room, you might end up going there late, because you wanted to see the entire presentation from that first speaker. And I don't know, people just don't take that into account when they're presenting. They're just, get up there and say what they're going to say and get off. But really, it's important to take timing into account. So for instance, if you have 10 minutes to present a presentation, don't take up all 10 minutes. I'd suggest you leave at least a minute of buffer. So if you're given 10 minutes, present for 9. So if you do any kind of ad-libbing, if there's anything else that happens during the presentation that you didn't anticipate, at least you have that 1 minute buffer to make sure that you don't go over time. But if you're practicing with 10 minutes in mind, there's a possibility that you'll go over, and you don't want to go over. You don't want to be that person. I can't stand that person. And I know I'm not the only person that can't stand that person. I actually wrote a LinkedIn post about it, and quite a number of people commented on that being a pet peeve of theirs as well. So I'm not alone. So definitely, when you're presenting, make sure you actually, I guess the term would be underpresent maybe. Don't plan to go for the entire time. And also, another thing is that questions and answers come up. So you want to leave a little bit of buffer for that as well. A minute or two for Q&A to make sure that you're under time. These are just things that, to take into account. You might think that they're obvious, but oftentimes these are just things that just kind of fall through the cracks when it comes to preparing for a speech or preparing for a presentation. And, just a conference is just one example of keeping timing in mind. Even when you're in your company doing project status meetings or any kind of meetings with other people on the team or, other people at the company, it's still important to keep track of time because time is money, man. People have other things to do. Oftentimes we're in these meetings thinking, man, do I actually have to be in this damn meeting? Why is this meeting even happening? And so when you're going over time, you're just making people even more annoyed that maybe didn't even want to be in the meeting in the first place. So, I think it's always a good idea to try to be as succinct as possible. Use the time that you have, but don't go over the time because that'll just annoy people. So that's just my 2 cents on timing. I think that like I said, it's a great idea to make sure that you're under time, so you have some buffer, and just in case things out of your control happen. So that's what I want to say about timing. To learn more about the online course Teach the Geek to Speak, you can go to teachthegeek.com. To learn more about my children's book, you can go to askuncleneil.com, and Neil is spelled Neil. I don't know, sometimes people spell it Neal. Some people sometimes spell it Niel. Like, who the hell spells their name like? Who the hell spells Neil like that? I don't know. But yeah, to learn about those things, you can go to those websites. And as I said, I'm going to do a better job of posting to the YouTube channel a little more often. And then, I got some other videos that I think could be of use to people, and I'm going to transfer them over to the YouTube channel. And I'm going to turn a lot of these videos into podcast episodes too. So you might be able to see my face, but you'll at least still be able to hear my voice. So until next time, everybody, take care. Oh, and don't buy too much stuff. It's Black Friday. I know everything's on sale, but don't go crazy. All right, take it easy.